What's up, YouTube? Thanks for tuning in to a Hero's Escape. Normally on this channel, I make videos talking about my favorite game, Heroscape. But today I wanted to try something different. I decided, why not try to make a video talking about one of my other favorite games, Magic the Gathering. So for this video, I'm going to go through all 6 of my commander decks and just show them. If you guys like it, please let me know in the comments, and then maybe I'll do some more. But if you don't like it and you want me to continue to do Heroscape only, let me know that as well. If I'm able to branch out from Heroscape and start talking about other games and stuff, I could actually post a lot more regularly as well. So that would give a lot more potential to my channel. But anyway, let's roll the intro. Alright, as I was saying, I have been thinking a lot about potentially talking about other games on this channel and just making it more of a general gaming channel. I think this could allow me to do this a lot more full time with having different topics and stuff and not burning out. It's a little difficult to talk about only Heroscape when I'm doing videos so often, but you guys have to let me know in the comments what your opinion is. If you guys do like this video, please hit subscribe and join the Discord channel where you can actually interact with my community of subscribers. We do Tabletop Simulator Heroscape through that Discord server. We set up the games. And in addition to that, I might start doing Magic as well on there if anyone's interested in doing that. But we'll just see what you guys all think. So basically here I have 6 commander decks that I have put together. Now I have kind of a complicated history of Magic because I started playing when I was really young, and I've gone through many phases of selling my entire collection and then getting back into it and then selling it and getting back into it. But this time I finally have decided to not sell ever again and just keep it because I always seem to keep getting back into it. So I have these 6 commander decks. This one is Kykar. This one is Kaalia. This one is Korvold. They don't all start with K's because this is actually this is Nethroi, this is Shalai and Hallar, and this is one of the Hydras. We'll look at that. This is a Hydra deck. So we'll look at that in a minute, but I'll go ahead and set up the camera to do close-ups and we'll talk through each of the decks. And again, if this is interesting, please let me know below so that I can go ahead and know if I should keep doing videos like this. I'm thinking about trying out Hero Quest, which is a game that's catching my interest, but I've never played it before. But I thought maybe that could be cool to do some videos of. And of course, I can always do Magic videos. Those of you who have been my first subscribers, I think like Beat Down Magic was one of my first subscribers. Now I think he's Beat Down Scaper. But he knows, and other of my original subscribers know, that this channel actually used to be a Magic the Gathering channel before it was a Heroscape channel. But I was not getting hardly any traction when I was doing that. So eventually I switched to Heroscape and I started getting a lot of traction. So now that I have a bit of a following, I thought maybe I could try doing Magic again and see if it goes anywhere. And of course I have been uploading mostly on Saturdays and Tuesdays lately, but this is going to be a shadow drop video because it's more really of an experiment for me to see if it works. So if you guys want more Magic, maybe I'll make this part of the regular releases. Okay, so starting out here, we're going to look at one of my custom creations. This is not a commander that very many people play. It's actually Nethroi, Apex of Death. And this is like a fully custom deck concept, which is my favorite one to play. I find it to be the most fun. And I'm just going to talk about how it works basically. But here's the commander, Nethroi of Apex of Death. And it's a cool alternate art, full art foil, the whole gambit. Essentially what this guy does is he has Death Touch, Lifelink, and Mutate. So you can mutate him onto a non-human creature. And when you do that, it allows you to pull graveyard recursion, basically pull creatures out of the graveyard up to a maximum total of 10 power or less from your graveyard. So every time that you cast him from your command zone and mutate him onto a non-human creature, you can then resurrect a bunch of creatures up to a total power of 10 or less. So that's the commander there. And now, of course, because this is green, it has a ton of mana ramps, such as Growing Rites of Itlamok, which we have right here. And of course, I foiled out the deck for the most part because I like foiling. Not every card in here is foil, but a good chunk of them are. We also have a bunch of token production, such as Felidar Retreat, because, well, that actually gets into the point of the deck here. So this commander, essentially, you'll see how that comes into play in a minute. But the point of the deck here is essentially this. Okay, so there's plenty of cards in this deck that I can show. This is the whole stack of cards I'm not really going to show because they're not necessarily relevant to the point of the deck. But a lot of these are graveyard recursion and other things like that. But essentially, this is the idea. So, of course, because we have green, we have a bunch of mana ramp here with Mana Dorks, Mana Rocks, Growing Rites of Itlamok, things like that. Then we move on to token production. This is very important. So we have Tendershoot Dryad, Speaker of the Heavens, Rise the Redeemed, Vivian, Avenger Zendikar, Divine, like all sorts of things that are just producing lots and lots of tokens. Then we have these because of the colors, green, black, and white, there's not a whole lot of card draw, card advantage. So we need some form of card advantage, card draw engines. So Dockside Chef and Vampiric Rites are very important. And usually I try to mulligan until I have one of these in my opening hand if possible because they're so important. But once we've created all the tokens, of course, we have cards that are life gain based for that when the tokens are being created, just to keep us alive longer. But what's really important here is these cards. All of these cards have effects that cause the opponents to lose life, and some of them even make me gain life whenever a creature dies. So I make a super wide board with tons and tons of tokens. Then I use board wipes. I just blow everything up with all of these different board wipes. When this happens, all of these trigger off for each token that's being destroyed. And for any creature that I have on the field that's not a token, that's an important card, I just use Nethroi and mutate him onto a non-human creature to get all of those cards back. And then I can continue this process of building a wide board, self-destructing, and basically causing everybody to die in one go. It's very easy to get like 40 plus creature tokens on the field, have several of these types of cards on here, and then when that happens, it's just extremely easy to kill everybody in one go with a board wipe. And that's the idea here. And of course, if somebody counters my board wipe spells, I have plenty of mana ramp to allow me to just play another one. So this is my custom deck. It actually works very, very well. I have won lots of games with this. I have a version of this on Arena, which is a brawl deck, which it works extremely well. And if anyone's curious to see how that plays, I can definitely do a video playing matches with that on Arena to show you. But essentially, that is my custom, what some people might call pet deck, because it's my favorite one that I really try to foil it all out, and yeah, just my own custom idea. There's nothing more fun than creating a completely original concept for a deck and having it actually work. It's so much more fun than playing a meta deck. Anyone can go online and just look up a deck that works super well meta-wise and do that. And that brings us to our next deck, which is Korvold, which is largely based on decks that I've seen online for Korvold that are really good. But of course, I don't have every expensive card that is necessary for this, but it works very well still. And so my commander is Korvold, and this is the secret layer version of him because I really like to bling out my decks. I know a lot of people are like, that's so unnecessary, it's extra money. But once they started printing lots of copies of these special like fancy cards, it became a lot cheaper to do. So it's not really a huge issue of price anymore. So let's get into it. Of course, because it's green, we have plenty of mana production. But then because this deck is based on sacrificing with Korvold, we have cards like Spore Frog, which we can sacrifice all the time to just prevent combat damage. And then, of course, there's plenty of graveyard recursion, so I can always rely on Spore Frog to save me when I'm in a pinch. Moving on, though, we have cards like Eternal Witness, and basically this is a combo deck, and I'm going to show how these combos can work. These are pretty famous combos that many people have heard of before. Of course, I have Aftermath Analyst because a lot of this deck is trying to mill myself, and then when I do that, there's a lot of lands in my graveyard, which I can just bring back with cards like Aftermath Analyst. I have other ones that do similar things to that. Of course, I have Goldspan Dragon, which creates a bunch of treasures, which of course then you can sacrifice for mana, which boosts Korvold. For those who don't know, whenever Korvold enters the battlefield or attacks, you have to sacrifice another permanent, and when you do that, he gets a 1/1 counter, and you get to draw a card. So that's very good card advantage. We have Oversold Cemetery. I know I do have some pretty valuable cards in here. Original subscribers of the channel have seen the videos where I did booster box openings and just happened to get some super valuable cards. So that was really cool. But let's go ahead and get to the combos because that's what's really important here. Of course, we got Destiny Spinner, some of the like staples that we need. Goblin Bombardment here is a very important card for this deck because this card is sacrifice a creature and it deals 1 damage to any target. So this is just a sacrifice engine to help Korvold, and it also deals damage when we do it. We have Witch's Cauldron, which is another sacrifice engine. Ziatora, many people play decks with him as the commander as well, so he's an alternative commander. We have Koram the Undertaker, which is really important for pulling lands out of the graveyard and stuff. And yes, I found on eBay the special edition Modern Horizons 3 commander decks for a decent price. I bought them. I opened the ones that had cards that I think I would needed, which is basically just the Jund deck, and then I sold the other ones. I waited like a week or so until they went up in price, and I sold them and got a bunch of money. So let's have a look at these combos here. This is really important. But yes, the important thing about what I was saying is that I made a lot of money on those decks. And of course, Blood Artist makes it so that whenever we sacrifice a creature, I gain a life and opponents lose a life. Kind of like my other deck. But still looking for the good stuff here. Here's Squee the Immortal. That's very important. Moving on, we have... Okay, so Urabrask's Forge is really important for this deck because this makes a creature every turn that has to be sacrificed at the end of combat. So automatically every time, that's a +1 for Korvold and a free card draw. This is very good. Moving on, we have, again, lots of graveyard recursion. We have Kiki-Jiki, important staple. And we have, oh yeah, the Reaver Cleaver, Renin 6. And here's Food Chain, as well as this very valuable Vampiric Tutor that I opened. Lots of my decks have tutors and stuff. I probably won't be showing all those because they're not necessary to the strategy of the deck. Well, in this case, they are. The tutors are very important because I have to find the combo pieces. So, of course, the famous combo of Squee the Immortal and Food Chain. You use Food Chain to exile Squee the Immortal. That grants you mana. And then you cast Squee the Immortal from your graveyard for 3 mana. But X is 1 plus the exiled creature's mana value. So when you use Food Chain to exile him, you get 4 mana. You spend 3 of that to bring him back. Then you continue to do that, and you have infinite mana. Kiki-Jiki, we have Harmonic Prodigy. If an ability of a shaman or another wizard you control triggers, it triggers an additional time. So we use that with Eternal Witness, which is when it enters the field, you may return target card from your graveyard to your hand. So that's just really good graveyard recursion. Then we have Kikijiki, which creates a token that's a copy of a target non-legendary creature you control. So, of course, we probably want to do that with Eternal Witness. Sacrifice it, so that's a free sacrifice. And that's basically the idea here. And you're really just building Korvold up to be super strong and swinging out with him. Moving on, we have another one of my favorites here. This is Kykar, Wind's Fury. I built a version of this deck a long time ago when I was younger, and I loved it so much I wanted to rebuild it. So Kykar is whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. Then you can sacrifice a spirit to add a red mana. You can probably already see how powerful this could get, and so we basically have Kykar, we have Quintorius Kind, which is he has a +1, which creates a spirit, so that's obviously very helpful. The majority of cards in here are non-creature spells, which help Kykar Wind's Fury to do its thing. But there's another key card here, and that's Whirlwind of Thought. I really try to make sure that I have this in my opening hand, or I use Idyllic Tutor or something to pull it out of my deck. Because whenever you cast a non-creature spell, draw a card. So that is our very important card draw engine. But now here's where things get broken. So in order to... Oh, my bad. I have 2 Whirlwind of Thought already in here. So let me just swap this one out for something else. I used to have Hit the Motherlode in here. I didn't realize that I had already put Whirlwind of Thought. So yeah, we're going to swap that out. And Hit the Motherlode, that's just a good non-creature spell to use. Basically what we want with this is to make lots of spirits and have lots of access to mana by Kykar's ability. The key for this is Skull Clamp. We are equipping Skull Clamp to our spirits, which allows us to draw 2 cards every time. That makes a very crazy amount of card draw happen. There's plenty of counters in here. Counter spell, etc. We have plenty of things to protect Kykar because he's a commander that just instantly when he comes out, people want to destroy him right away. We have Improbable Alliance, which is another card draw engine. Also, whenever you draw your second card each turn, you make a fairy, so that's just a bunch of blockers for you. Mystical Tutor to pull out counters when we need them. Propaganda, very important. And that's basically the idea. It's very simple. There's not like a specific win con. There's not a specific win con. It's just basically to control everybody else, and eventually you can just kind of swing out with your spirits. And of course, Roaming Throne, we cast this and we use it on Wizard, and that way Kykar makes 2 spirits every time. And Mentor of the Meek, every time a spirit comes out, you draw cards. This is a very effective deck. It can be a little tricky to pull off because, again, people want to target Kykar instantly when they see him come out because most players know how powerful Kykar can be. So let's move on to the next deck. Alright, next up we have Kaalia of the Vast, another classic commander, one of the top 10 best commanders, I believe. And for those who don't know, she only costs 4 to put out, and whenever she attacks, you may put an angel, demon, or dragon from your hand onto the battlefield tapped and attacking. So this is super powerful. Obviously, the deck is just full of dragons, angels, and demons. But the real key here is to use cards like... we have Platinum Angel here and things like that. But the real key here is to use cards like, what are those boots that everyone uses? The hexproof boots. Swiftfoot boots? Yeah. We need Swiftfoot boots to go on to Kaalia to try and protect her at all costs. That's essentially the key. And then she just does her thing and pulls dragons and demons and angels out. It's really that simple, and there's plenty of good dragons and demons and angels to use. Of course, we have Grave Pact so that to deter people from destroying my creatures, because then they will have to sacrifice creatures. Breach the Multiverse is just a very powerful card. Might as well have it in there. And then we have Kaalia Zenith Seeker. So When she enters, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You can reveal an angel, dragon, or demon and put it into your hand. So just more pulling stuff. It's just a good deck. We have Strionic Resonator to double the effects and things like that. So yeah, it's really powerful. But that's it. It's pretty simple. It's a very straightforward strategy. Not much to really discuss there. Most people are familiar with Kaalia. But we'll move on now to my next combo deck, which this one, so I will say this deck has the most money of all of them in it because I was really focusing on making this a CEDH viable deck, and that's Shalai and Hallar. Now this commander is not super high up on the list, not as high up as Kaalia. Probably that's because as soon as she comes out, people target her. So it's very hard to protect her. But this is another combo deck with Eternal Witness and things like that. But basically the goal here is to use... we have Worldly Tutor, we have a Mox Amber. You can see there's a lot of money in here. Idyllic Tutor. This is a Fallout version of Walking Ballista. That's a key to our deck, as well as Heliod. Moving on though, we have definitely there's a lot of money in here. Probably the Ranger Captain of Eos. I mean, it's just a lot of stuff to make it difficult for other people to play, which is really important in CEDH. Silence, hit the mother load, like lots of things like that. Halana and Elena, which is important because Shalai and Hallar's ability is whenever one or more 1/1 counters are put on a creature you control, Shalai and Hallar deals that much damage to target opponent. So that's the idea of the deck, is to get 1/1 counters. Again, there's lots of expensive cards in here, but Hydra's Growth, of course, is just going to double and double and double, and that's really great. But basically, here's the goal. Esper Sentinel, there's a pretty valuable card right there. Basically, Red Terror is a red card. So whenever a red source you control deals damage to one or more permanents and or players, put a 1/1 counter on the Red Terror. Well, Shalai and Hallar is a red source, and whenever a 1/1 counter gets put on a creature you control, Shalai and Hallar deals damage to a target. So 1/1 counter gets put on Red Terror, Shalai and Hallar deals a damage, Red Terror gets another 1/1 counter, Shalai and Hallar deals another damage, and this is an infinite combo. We also have Heliod and Walking Ballista, which works in a very similar manner. You give Walking Ballista lifelink, and basically you can... Okay, whenever you gain life, put a 1/1 counter on target creature or enchantment you control. And then you can remove a 1/1 counter from Walking Ballista to deal a damage. So that gives you life because you've given it lifelink. So it's just another infinite combo. And yeah, that's that deck. It's just another combo deck, but with lots of stuff in it. But my last deck is nowhere near as good as these other ones because it was just another experiment deck that I started. I had gotten the Hydra Secret Lair because it was one of the cheapest ones on eBay. And so I wanted it because it looked cool, and I thought it would be interesting to try and make a Hydra tribal deck. So here is Zaxara the Exemplary as the commander, which is... you can tap it to add 2 mana of any one color. Whenever you cast a spell with X in its mana cost, create a Hydra creature token and put X 1/1 counters on it. So everything in here basically is an X cost spell. Well, lots of this stuff in here. We have Hydras and we have X cost spells, and then we have cards that help out tribal decks. So things like, you know, the ones that make it so that when you play, like you can tap it for a mana to cast a certain creature type or something like that. Or 3-Tree City, which is choose a creature type, you know, you get the idea. And yeah, like Unbound Flourishing. So it's just kind of a cool, fun idea. I haven't really tested it a whole lot to see how well it works yet, but I do think it's pretty cool, and I really like the artwork on the Secret Lair cards, so I wanted to make a deck using them. I know a lot of people complain about secret layers, but a lot of them I find to be really cool, so I don't entirely get it. But yeah, and that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching that video. If you're new to the channel, please go and check out my other videos where I talk about Heroscape, which is my favorite game ever, and definitely check it out because you might find that you think the game looks pretty interesting and you want to check it out. That would be great because Heroscape was discontinued back in 2010, but it was just recently picked back up by Renegade Game Studios, and they have been producing a lot of sets since. So if you're looking for a new game to get into, it's definitely a good one, and you can check out plenty of content on my channel talking about it. If you're an old subscriber to the channel, let me know what you think about me doing this sort of a video about things that aren't Heroscape. If I do go down this route, I will always be talking mostly about games on this channel, tabletop games, whether it's Magic or Heroscape or Hero Quest, which I really want to give a try, or any other games that you think I should talk about. Otherwise, if you didn't like seeing this and you want me to stick to Heroscape, let me know that as well, because this is just sort of an experiment to see how well this type of content will perform. Also, check out my fantasy novel. You can find the link in the description or in the About section of my channel. It's called The Price of Renewal, and it's available on Amazon in hardcover, paperback, and ebook for only $5. I've also got merchandise on the channel, which is inspired by Heroscape. Right now, it's basically a digital painting that I did, which I put on t-shirts and things like that. And definitely check out the Discord channel where you can interact with the community of subscribers, and you can actually get in on some maybe Magic the Gathering on Spell Table or Heroscape on Tabletop Simulator, or maybe we'll start doing some other games too. We'll just see how it goes. And thanks everyone for watching that video, and I'll see you in the next one.